Hi, this is Brandon Kennington. I'm going to be on the Coriolis effect. We're going to be talking all about inventions, new products, getting them in market. If you have a good idea, you're going to want to listen to this one.
Welcome to the Coriolis effect with Cory Oliver.
Hi guys, I'm Cory Oliver. Thanks for watching the Coriolis effect. Please hit the subscribe button below, and we hope you like this episode.
Hi guys, we wanted to announce that like many podcasters, we just started a Patreon account. Visit our page at patreon.com/the Coriolis effect. We have 5 different levels of membership and offer early access to episodes, behind the scenes footage, bonus episodes, shoutouts, and much more, including personal phone calls, questions and answer sessions, and live chats with Bob and me. That's patreon.com/the Coriolis effect. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. How are you, Cory?
You mean Princess?
Good morning, Princess. How are you, Princess?
There's a debate going on in the studio whether or not I am a princess, which I don't believe that I take that back. Maybe I'm a daughter of the Most High King. So, in a sense, yes, I am a princess.
The debate was not whether you are a princess. The debate is whether you act like a princess.
Oh, I definitely don't.
And there are sometimes you act very princessy.
Give me one example.
I don't like this here. I want my picture here. I want this over there. I want this.
Oh, wait a minute. Actually, no, that's not how I said it. What happened, just for you folks out there that are wondering, there was a divider over in the corner over there, and all of the posters were on the ground. And I thought, well, that wouldn't be the best backdrop for our guests because the camera's shooting this way. We have 2 guests coming in today. So I was like, it would be great if we could just pull that out of there and just pop that up there. No, I would love to put a picture of you up there. Like one big giant photo of Bob.
Not going to happen.
Okay. Well,
first of all, the only reason I call you, there's 2 reasons why I call you Princess. One is because I know it bothers you. And
no,
2 is because sometimes you act like Princess.
Okay, well, I don't think that I do. I'm definitely low maintenance, don't need a lot, don't want a lot. Just
men out there, listen up.
No, I'm not even men. I'm not even. Oh,
Princess,
you just gave me a compliment.
Princess comes out, you just got to be a little careful. Tread lightly. But 93% of the time, you're good.
93.
I was going to say 98, but that's way too high.
I think 98 is more like it.
93 is an A.
Huh?
Schools with an A- in my school, but it's an A.
I'm a little OCD. I am. I'm not going to lie. I like to wash my hands a lot. Nothing wrong with that.
That's anal retentive, not OCD.
That's OCD. Remember when Something's Got to Give, when Jack Nicholson washed his hands all the time? He had OCD.
Yeah, I have to.
Do you think that in our lifetime you'll ever agree with anything that I say?
I never agree.
No.
The problem is I would agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong.
Very funny. Okay, so switching gears, because I know we have a lot to get through today. And I have a great guest coming up. He's an inventor, and he's just really one of the...
He's an inventor or adventor?
Inventor. Yeah, he's always coming up with some great idea. And, I can't wait to talk to him because I like to invent things as well. And, most people get ideas, and it's really what you do with that idea. You put it down on paper, then you find somebody to execute it or design it or whatever it is that you have invented. And he has invented an incredible thing. I'm going to wait for it. So, but it's something that most people can use. And I'll just say what it is.
Hold on. Let me ask you. Do you actually make the product or do you just think of the idea?
Well, it depends on what it is. I actually made my own lip balm in my kitchen. And
that wouldn't be an inventor.
Well, no, it's not that. No, nobody invented. I don't know who invented lip balm, but my actual proprietary blend is my invention. So yes, in a sense, and I styled it with my partner, etc. But Brandon Kennington, who is...
There's a great comic who does a thing about Tom, I can't think of his last name, but he says his nephew or somebody says he's an inventor. He says, yeah, I invented a phone that drives your car. He said, how's that work? He said, I don't know. I give it to somebody else and they have to make it work. So coming up with an idea doesn't make you an inventor. You actually have to physically, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, you have to physically make the machine or make the thing.
Okay, well, let me just tell you this. And I want to talk about Brandon Kennington because that's his show today. But I do have a friend who created a retractable syringe.
Really?
And she patented it. And she used the spring from a ballpoint pen
Yeah.
and invented it and sold it to some company for $10 million.
Okay.
And then they went and made their own prototype. So, when you have an idea and you come up with some form of invention, I think, he's an inventor.
A kid in Texas didn't have any money years and years and years ago, and he needed windshield wiper blades. So he took a garden hose and cut it long ways and strapped it to the thing to make it. Somebody from Ford saw it and bought the idea from him for $3 million, and now you have 2 and 3 blade wiper blades.
Yes.
That came from, that's an invention.
Incredible.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
This is a great invention. Brandon Kennington came up with this, and it's called the kibblekatcher. Now, I have friends. My daughter has a big dog, big or small. This kibblekatcher, this bowl that he's designed, is genius. It saves you from having like puddles of water, and then your food drops, and it literally has all these different designs. And we'll play the commercial. It's genius. I can't wait.
So it stopped you from walking into the kitchen with kibble all over the floor?
And water all over the floor, and it's just a great invention. And it was, I know, it's about time, and I just am excited to talk to him today. I've known him for quite some time. He's very, very smart and knowledgeable, and I love that he definitely, makes things happen. So I want to talk to him about that. He is, and I'm excited. So also, just for 1 second, let's just talk about a total side note. I watched this video of William Shatner taking a trip into space. I guess Jeff Bezos organized the whole thing, and he got on this little cubicle thing. Yeah. And
They call it a capsule.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Did you?
Well, he was only up for 12 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And what did you think?
I thought it was interesting. I think Shatner, well, first of all, Shatner's an amazing actor. I should say Shatner's an amazing over actor, but is really good at it, and everybody loves him for his overacting. But it was, Shatner's very happy to be Shatner. So.
I thought it was interesting. I was like, I kind of waited to see them come off with some kind of head thing on, but I didn't see that. But it was definitely interesting. Would you do it?
Would I go to space?
Yeah.
I would, in a minute. I wouldn't pay the money they have to pay, and if I did pay that money, I think it's like $250,000 or something. I'd want to go up there for a couple days or a couple weeks, but they only go up for 12 minutes. So that kind of freaked me out. And technically, you're in space because you're above whatever iosphere, ionosphere, stratosphere, whatever you're above. But yeah, you're not really in space. You're not going to the moon, you're not just like that. So they just get you out of and you're not even out of the orbit. You would fall back. So
how many trips have they done?
Oh, I don't know. Wasn't Shatner in the first?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And you're going to float down on like 2 bigs?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, no, I'm out. It's great to watch it though.
Did you ever see the highest free fall, the one they did for Red Bull? They took the guy up in the balloon in the capsule.
No.
They had a guy in a capsule with this balloon, and they took him up. I got to say it was 60, 70,000 feet, whatever, and he jumped out and parachuted. It was the highest parachute ever, sponsored by Red Bull. But he was literally at the point where there was no oxygen.
No way.
He jumps out of the capsule, and the capsule eventually came down, because I saw it in the Science Museum. But yeah, he literally parachuted from like 50 or 60 or 70,000 feet.
Wow.
Jump, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I get just as much of a thrill watching it as I do, actually going up.
My thing I wanted to talk about today is I just found this out yesterday. The whole thing's going on with Rogan and the podcast and everything.
Yes.
Apparently, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle signed somebody said $25 million and somebody else said $30 million, but it was at least a $25 million deal with Spotify to do a podcast. They signed it at the end of 2020. I'm sorry, middle of 2020, and they put out one 30-minute episode at the end of 2020 for Christmas, and nothing in 2021. So they took either $25 or $30 million from Spotify and put out one 33-minute episode, and that's it in a year plus.
How many were they signed on to do?
I assume it was one a week or something like that. It got so bad that Spotify had to come in and say, "We're taking over. You get rid of all your company. We're doing this podcast." But can you imagine take $25 million?
Boy, if you only knew how many shows we could give you for $25 million.
I'll give you 25 million shows for $25 million. God, I would give you a 24-hour remember EdTV?
Yes.
I would set that up for $25 million.
They have no idea. It's so.
These people
oh
took
my
$25
goodness.
million,
Yeah, that's
gave them
crazy.
a half an hour of the product, and don't expect to do anything else. They're like, what are you talking about? We're royalty. And by the way, and they also got I think their Netflix deal was into the 100 million. And they claim they're producing a cartoon. They claim, but they haven't done anything. They just expect to get the money and not have to work for it. And their comment was, well, we got cut off from the royal family, so we had to do these deals. They just don't ever expect to work. It's very, very sad. So at Spotify, if you're looking for content, we'll give you the 85, 86, 87 we've done.
We're your peeps.
I'll do 3 a day with Cory, and we'll sit here from sun up to sundown and do nonstop podcasts.
Yes, this is why I love hard workers, which to our guest today, Brandon Kennington is. He certainly is. So I'm very excited to talk to him and find out just how he makes things happen.
Okay.
So
let's get into the mind of an inventor.
Yes.
Interviewed by another inventor.
Yes.
All right, see you in a few minutes.
Okay.
This episode is sponsored by the Pillow Fight Podcast. Pillow Fight is a comedy and culture podcast hosted by writer and stand-up comedian Yamini Yambimidan. Yamini is joined by a guest or two each week, and they talk and gossip like schoolgirls at a slumber party. They play games like Would You Rather, based upon world news, and some juicy Truth or Dare. An alumni of comedy venues like the Second City and Stand Up New York, Yamini brings her politically charged and empowering humor to the Pillow Fight podcast with the aim of fostering more accessible conversations about culture and politics through the perspective of best friends gossiping at a slumber party. Listen to Yamini's Pillow Fight podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever you listen and download podcasts. That's Pillow Fight Podcast with Yamini Nambimidan. And check out Yamini on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Fanhouse, MySpace, AOL, 6 Degrees, Flickr, Tumblr, Twitch, Tinder, Bumble, Match, OurTime, OkCupid, eHarmony, Plenty of Fish, JDate, Christian Mingle, and FarmersOnly.com. Some links are in the description of this episode.
This episode is sponsored by the Simply Earth Essential Oil Recipe Box. Do you have essential oils sitting unused on your shelf? Have essential oils always confused you? The Simply Earth Essential Oil Recipe Box will help you gain confidence and clarity in using essential oils to help make your home essentially toxin-free. You will receive a recipe box with 4 pure essential oils, 6 recipe cards, and extras. You will learn how to use your essential oils while making the recipes created by certified aromatherapists. You will also save money and detoxify your life. Buy from a company that changes the world, since Simply Earth gives 13% of all profits to end human trafficking around the world. Simply Earth's essential oils are affordable, 100% pure, and come from the best farms all over the world. They are GC-MS tested by a third party to ensure purity. And all of Simply Earth essential oils recipes are tried and tested by an in-house certified aromatherapists. Using essential oils to support your wellness doesn't have to be overwhelming. Have fun making your home essentially toxin-free with Simply Earth Essential Oil Recipe Box. Plus, get a free 80 milligram essential oil diffuser when you subscribe at simplyearth.com/Cory. That's simplyearth.com/Cory. Subscribe to Simply Earth today and make your home essentially toxin-free.
All right, let's start the show.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm very excited. I have a dear friend here today, Brandon Kennington, who is an inventor and the owner and president of bluecube.com.
Cube with a K.
Yes, BLUEKUBE.com. And he has a genius invention. All of your inventions are incredible. I've been following you for a long time, and it's been a while since I've seen you, so welcome to the Coriolis Effect.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and he's right down the road. Didn't even know it.
Yeah, 2 minutes away, really.
But you have designed...
He's the only inventor I know who shows up without his invention. Send him back to go get it.
Well, he has so many of them. Like, you can't tote all of your inventions around. I mean, you're just such a creative, and I love that about you because I love to invent too. And I want to talk about inventing, and just people get ideas all the time and how they put it down on paper, and just your process and how you invented this amazing kibblekatcher, it is called. We'll explain that a little bit more in detail, but first, we have a word that you have to try to figure out. It's a phobia word. We don't live in fear here, but Bob, this is Bob's favorite part of the show, so go ahead. Go ahead, Bob.
Always qualify it. I'm going to play a word. I'm going to spell the word. I'm going to have Siri or Alexa say the word. You got to tell me what it is. Let's see if I get this right.
Canisphobia.
Canisphobia. Canisphobia.
Canisphobia.
Canisphobia.
Canisphobia.
Well, the word canis comes to mind. I'm thinking cannabis or something like that. So I'm thinking maybe the fear of Either smoking pot or the effect of smoking pot? No. Okay.
Fear of dog bowls. Fear of dog food.
So close.
Fear of water on the ground.
No, you had the first part.
Fear of
Dog
fear of
bites?
dog.
Stop. Fear of dogs.
Fear of dogs.
Yeah.
Oh.
Canis is Latin for dog.
Of course. Yeah, that does make sense.
Guest related.
Well, they're always guest related, but yes.
But that was actually a good guess. That was a good guess. Well, welcome
That
today.
would, by the way, that'd be cannabis phobia.
Yeah,
Right.
that would make sense.
Right.
Canis is where you get canine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bob.
I'm sorry, Cory. go
You're a
ahead, it's your
wealth
show.
of information.
And a gold mine of original thought, don't forget.
No, I wouldn't go that far. Anyway, I'm very excited to have you here in studio. Last time I saw you was a couple years ago, and you had another invention which did very well. And so I just want to talk to you today about the one you brought, which is in the corner, and we're going to pull that out in a minute. But just inventing in general. So many people get ideas, honestly, throughout the day, a lot of ideas. And it's really what you do with that thought in taking it captive, putting it down on paper, and taking the next step to actually bring it to fruition. And I just want to ask you your process, because you are so creative.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I meet a lot of people that have awesome ideas, and they're, I think we've all had that experience where you're like, oh, that was my idea, or if I only knew what to do with it, a lot of times they don't know what the next step is, or so. I come across all sorts of walks of life of people. Just the other day, I was getting my cement floor regrinded down so it could be polished and look nice again, because it was looking a little shabby. And even the guy that was doing that, and he was just his day job was just to grind concrete. And he came to me, and after knowing what I did, just unloaded all sorts of fantastic ideas. It was like all about tools, the things he could use on his truck, things that he and so we all have it kind of in us, which is really kind of
Did I tell
fun.
you my father invented the fire extinguisher? My father was in college, and he was in science with my mother at the time. They weren't married. And he found out that CO2 puts out fires. So he went home and he designed this whole delivery system. He came back and showed my mom. She said, yeah, like that thing that's been on the wall for the last 40 years? He goes, oh, yeah, right.
Grab a
So he
patent on
invented
that one.
40 years after they, it was out in the market.
You had a good idea.
Yeah, so.
But that's the thing, like you just said it, it's so much out of necessity, right? That people
exactly.
get creative and they...
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes, I know. And so this particular kibblekatcher that you brought today that we're gonna bring up here in a little bit is genius, because like I said, I've literally go down every single morning and there's water on the floor. I'll slip on a kibble, literally. I will literally slip on a kibble, and I'm like, my dog's not even that big. So if you have a bigger dog, it's a bigger mess.
This is a bigger mess, yeah, typically at least.
And I love the commercial. We're going to roll the commercial at some point in our interview, but it's really no mess left behind. And what was your inspiration?
We've all had that experience where, there's always a mess left behind. The dog sometimes can just get a little bit frenzy about the kibble or the water. Some are just slobbery, especially larger dogs. And we were the idea, kind of came to us when we were looking for other products in the pet space, because we have the porch potty, which is a grass litter box for dogs. And we were looking for what else there could be for, because we love solving everyday problems, and this seemed to be an everyday problem.
Worldwide.
Yeah.
It's unanimous, hands down.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, we did a little, I actually now have a couple engineers that work with me at the company now, and it's been really great to be able to throw feedback around and get kind of a brainstorm session. But for the longest time, up until just a couple of years ago, I've been a solo inventor. So it was just me thinking in my own head. But so when I say we, now it's me and two other engineers that get to have fun together and think up new things. And so we were just kind of batting around how to make this experience better. And then we thought, well, and also these bowls are they're like made of plastic, or they're made of just like a stainless steel bowl or something, and if you're going to put something in your kitchen or, near where you eat, right? Your dining room, you kind of want your dog kind of eating near you. It's kind of it's a family member, right? You want something to look nice. So, the idea just came to us with let's make this solution go away, and how could we do that? And so we thought of, why don't we have the kibble maybe, slide down a slope down into a tray that we can capture and then even put back into the bowl. And there are a couple, water bowls that have a floating island in it. I think we did it best though, because how we designed
What
it.
does that do?
Yeah, so the floating island, you can literally kick this thing and water won't come out.
Really?
Yeah. So in fact, that's another problem. It's not just the dog that can be sloppy.
I kick the ball all the time.
Right. I kick it all the time by accident.
How do it do that?
So by having this little floating island, it only allows just like about a 1/4 inch of water to be exposed on the top. So they lap at it. And so there's not a sloshing motion that happens when you kick it. It's just...
So it's almost like a straw-ish thing. You only take a certain amount at one time.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So you can kick the bowl and water doesn't come out. And at the same time...
The island covers the whole circumference of the bowl? So
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I can grab it and we can show it.
Tell you what,
really- yeah.
First of all,
Thanks.
you want to make $100 million, you have kids, right?
Yeah.
How old?
It's 11 and 12.
Okay. You figure out a system that stops the Legos from being on the ground.
Oh,
at night.
that's a good one.
Everybody walks on. That is $1 million. Idea.
Yeah, right?
Or just a slipper that it doesn't penetrate your foot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like
A
titanium
Lego
sole.
slipper. Yeah, because I've had a couple of those surgically
You
removed
can
from my feet.
magnetize each Lego. At the end of the day, you push a button, all the Legos
They all
come
go
together.
like
in a
that.
big
That's a
thing.
good idea. That's a good idea.
I can't count the number of times on those Legos. They drive you. They're the sharpest things known to man.
It's got to be one of the most painful feelings
Yeah.
ever. For
One
sure.
of my friends gave Ariana like a 750,000 piece Lego set, and I was like, "You're not a very good friend. Are you mad at me? You must be mad." Well, no, this is a great idea. I think it's obviously a pet paraphernalia, if you will.
Yeah.
Is I mean, you can go to Petco and there's always some new, innovative, creative, you
Right.
know. And I have one for you, but I'll share it with you off camera because it is a good invention. But I would like to know how many prototypes you guys went through before you guys landed on this particular one, which we're going to bring up in a few minutes.
In this particular one, it was about a year of, well, I would say 6 months of prototyping and R&D. And a lot of it was 3D printing, getting obviously CAD, computer aided, CAD stuff. We did a lot of, we even bought, some items off, you just start going on a shopping list with Amazon and seeing what's out there and what worked, what doesn't work, what we can improve, what maybe some good ideas that other people have thought of. A lot of times, being an inventor isn't always having to reinvent the wheel from scratch. It's totally okay to go get ideas from what other people have succeeded with.
You weren't here we usually do we always do a intro. And so I talked a little bit about a friend of mine who created the retractable syringe.
Oh.
And then she sold the prototype to a big company for like $10 million, and then they made it on their own. But she used a ballpoint pen spring.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like,
such a great example.
Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do something because it's out there.
Yeah. I mean, and inventing is an art in a way, right?
Yes.
And artists would tell you that, at least some of them, I think, would say nothing we do as artists is completely original. Everything is an influence from something else you've seen, a technique you've learned, and we just bring all of our life experiences into one moment. My life experience is different than yours and everybody else's, so we all are influenced by so many other artists, other people, and just how we live through life, and then we bring that experience and wisdom into a product, and to see it kind of come together and flourish, and then the smile you see on other people when they use it is the best feeling.
Oh, it is.
You went through a lot of prototypes, right?
Oh yeah. So
Are there any designs that didn't work that you can talk about? Like, we tried it with this and it was not going to happen. Or
yeah.
it's always refining it to make just cleaner and better.
Yeah, we there was some issues with the floating island. One of the things you struggle with as an inventor is the engineering part of it, right? So And one thing about plastic, because the bowl, the floating island is a plastic, is that you need to have a draft on it, which means that it has to have an angle so that it comes out of the tool well enough, because it can't. It has to be able to come out of the manufacturing process. But in order for it to slide smoothly up and down, but not rock left and right, we had to make those walls extremely flat, and we just could not get those to print right, because the 3D printers are just not that accurate. And the other thing is the island kept flipping over. And so that was a problem. Like you need to have it always up in the orientation it needs, and
the dogs would probably be a little apprehensive
if they pushed down on it, or air would kind of float to one side and it would flip it upside down or flip it over, and that is as soon as it goes sideways, it doesn't float up and down correctly. And so we went around and around. Should we do 2 pieces and like try to capture air inside of it? But that would just be like an extra piece, an extra part. I'm always trying to reduce parts, right? Always trying to come up with. And so we finally came up with, why don't we put like these ribs under it that create little air pockets in a pattern that allows it to always stay in the right orientation, because the air pockets will always trap air when you put it in there.
Like grooves or something, so it can't flip over, can't turn. But
it's kind of I don't know. There's those bells. You ever put a bucket over your head as a kid and go down under the pool?
Not like me, other people too. Yeah, so you can breathe underneath.
I would say I didn't. Must be a guy thing.
It must be, because I love doing that.
You never go into the pool.
No. In the pool, nonetheless.
No, because then you get the air. It's like the canoe.
Yeah.
The canoe flips over.
Yes, exactly.
You can breathe in the canoe.
I was smart.
Yeah.
Didn't take that rodeo.
So anyways, we use that principle basically to capture air, and then it floats perfectly flat every time. Yeah. So little things like that. And you look at it and you don't really think about what it would take to kind of come up with that. But there's always those stories, like you, and thank you for asking that. The nuances are there, as you can
Well, I was thinking
imagine.
of Edison. Didn't Edison like 100 or 200 times make a light bulb? And somebody said, like, I learned 198 ways not to make a light bulb.
Exactly.
And 199th was whatever the number was.
Yeah. So I'm a big believer, speaking of prototyping, I'm a big believer in prototyping. So, in real estate, you might hear somebody say location, location, location.
Yes.
In inventing, it's prototype.
No, it's true. It's trial and error. You have to, test it and research it and develop it, and it's a lot.
And you just learn so much when you finally put it in your hands and you start to play with it and you realize, oh, that thing's flipping over, and I never would have thought that would have happened, because in a computer, everything's perfect, but in real life, it actually is not perfectly balanced.
But this is one of those products that it's like, now all of your friends and family are like, dude, I need one of those for my dog, right?
Awesome.
Like everyone can. I don't really usually say the word dude, but I was saying that because we were talking about putting bowls over our head, and I was trying to fit in.
Now I have it.
I know. Please edit that, Cade, from the record.
I have the soundbite. That'll be my new button.
But yes, I know. We know that. But it's one of those things that is it's necessary. I love it. We're going to bring this up in just a second, but I wanted to know a little bit about you, Brandon. When you were a kid, were you one of those kids that was not just putting buckets over your head, but like creating,
putting buckets over other people?
Yeah, right. Creating things, or building things, or has this always been a passion of yours?
Yeah, I have to say I feel blessed in that way, because not everybody gets to even know what they go to college for, and I knew early on that I loved inventing, and I didn't even know what the word inventing was when I was I think I was around 12 years old, that I started tinkering with making new prototypes of things, or different products of ideas, and it was, I finally tried to put it in words, and one of my family members said, "Oh, you should be a civil engineer." And I'm like, "Oh, what's a civil engineer?" So I look back. I don't know if I feel very old now.
Those bridges.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel very old now, saying that I went to my encyclopedia.
Oh yeah.
The Britannica. We actually had and I looked up a civil engineer, and sure enough, there was a whole list of different engineering.
Yes.
There was chemical engineers and petroleum engineers and mechanical engineers and so. I read them all, and I realized, mechanical engineer. That's what I need to go. So I went to Purdue University as a mechanical engineer, and believe it or not, I grew up in Laguna Beach, the School of the Artists.
Right.
And I believe they changed their mascot recently, but I don't know a single engineer that graduated in my class.
Really?
So I was certainly walking my own path.
Yeah.
It was, our school was very artsy. Everybody was going to film school or all these things. And here I was going to the Midwest to a big engineering school.
The right brain people.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, engineering certainly is very analytical, and I have that. But I do also see the art side of inventing. So I love the hybrid version of it. So, yeah, I started kind of pulling things apart and trying to put them back together. I remember as a young...
Reverse engineering it all?
Yeah, I mean, I took apart my old roller skates and tried to come up with something unique.
Wings.
Right, yeah. I always loved, another thing outdating me is rollerblades. Yeah. And I thought, why can't I have rollerblades, but then just clip them off and then walk around town and then clip them back on?
Okay, are you old enough for the old skates? The quad skates that would clip onto your sneakers?
The four wheels?
So when we were
kids,
tell
me about it.
Yeah.
They'd have this metal chassis that had quad skates, metal wheels, everything was metal. And it was just the bottom with like hooks, come up the side.
Oh,
you'd
yes.
put them on your sneaker and then you tie them as tight as you can. And you'd skate, and then you'd take them off and walk around in your sneakers.
Yes.
I don't remember those.
Oh my God! Yes, you do. You had like 3 pairs. Everybody were breaking their ankles. They were the most unsafe, and they would actually extend if you were a bigger foot or smaller.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That breaking your ankles does seem likely for that because there is a lot of forces going on there that I actually learned a lot.
Part of the boot.
Yeah, right. So I remember specifically, if I actually have this notebook still. I love looking at my old notebooks and seeing drawings that I did when I was like 13 years old. And I have this drawing. It was actually my first time I learned how to use CAD. I went and took a class at a community center because I wanted to express myself better, and I wasn't a really good drawer with pens. So I still have a printout of design where it would come up kind of up to your it would have to strap onto your calf and use that leverage. There's a lever calculation there so that you don't break your ankles.
Because all the rich kids in the neighborhood had the boot. They were like actual blades. Not blades, they were quads.
Yes.
But had the boots with the saw, almost like ice skates.
Yeah, and the mechanism of how to snap it in and snap it out was also very fun for me to do. Like I remember it very specifically that there was like this cable that you would kind of, when you reach down, I don't know if you guys remember, but the rollerblades had like a space between the boot, and I designed it so that you would just kind of squeeze, and there was a cable that would pop the whole thing off.
Oh, very cool.
So when you squeeze the cable, it would pull the little pins in, and the whole thing came out. So these are things that when I was a kid, I mean, they kind of seem simple now to me, but as a kid, these are the things I was coming up with all the time. And I remember one time I was always late for school, getting up because I had to get up early for water polo practice.
You
And
played water
you just
polo.
said
yeah.
Ariana played water polo.
Oh, okay, yeah. And it's early mornings, dark. It's still dark out.
3 months ago in that chair was a gold medalist in water polo.
No way.
Yeah.
Amanda Longan.
Amanda Long, from the one in Tokyo just last year.
Oh, wow.
So you got up.
So I just had really a lot of hard times getting up, and so I got this device. Gosh, another thing. It was
an alarm clock.
No, it was
this really loud noise when you had to get up, and it was set to the time of the day. You could change what time it was. It was the greatest invention.
It was great. Yeah. No, it was the clapper. Do you guys remember the clapper?
Yes.
So they had the best commercial,
that
by the
old
way.
bitty lady.
Yes.
It was all nasty and just go.
Yes,
face,
exactly. And she would be like, and her clap was like, she couldn't even get her
hands together. Yeah. Yes.
Anyways, I got one of those for Christmas one time, and if you remember, there was 2 plugs you can plug into it. It was a dual plug, and there was a little switch on it to either respond to clapping and all the lights would turn on, or there was even, if you flipped it to the other mode, any sound would turn on the lights. Right. Yeah. So I thought, how about if to really force myself to get up, I would plug this into the wall, plug all my lights into it, set my alarm. But the other plug, why don't I take this fan that's in the garage, take the prop off of it, like the actual propeller, put it down at the bottom of my foot of my bed, attach it to my covers.
Yeah, so pull the covers
so
off.
takes all my covers off. And I had this...
Your mom must have
Oh my
just been
God.
like, what is the answer
He was
now?
only in the hospital for 3 weeks.
I know, huh?
And I had this big headboard at the top of my head, top of my bed, And we had this big futon that I rolled up nice and tight, and I put it at the top on my headboard, and I had this thing like drop on me because it would pull another string. And the whole thing was like a big Rube Goldberg. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Rube Goldberg.
Yes.
It was such a Rube Goldberg experiment, which I ended up joining a Rube Goldberg club.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, or all the contraptions, or the beginning of Back to the Future, how they fed.
Oh, yes, I love it.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
toast would come up. Yeah.
Yeah, the toast. I love the
Yeah.
toast.
You know, D.H. Lawrence said, "A thing you truly believe in cannot be wrong." And so when you really do think of something like this and your inventions, you really commit to it. You really
Yes.
do believe in yourself and know that it cannot be wrong. If you just continue, you'll find a way. Right?
As with life, really, right?
Yeah. Are your kids inventors as well? Are they?
Well, my son is in engineering class right now, so he's doing an engineering class, so he's enjoying learning some of the basics. So we'll see. I think he likes it. But it's funny, you know, how kids, they're preteens, right? So they kind of have this like, I don't want to be anything like my parents moment, right? So they're not like that yet, but we'll see. I mean,
I think you're doing pretty well. And you have workout equipment you've invented. You have porch potty,
yeah.
which is also an
And we have this
so
tutor cam, and
we're gonna bring it up here. The kibblekatcher, for those of you who's
with a K.
With a K.
yes, kibblekatcher, Katcher,
Yeah.
is your associate coming?
Yeah.
Maybe
He'll get here when he gets here. Let's bring
okay.
it up.
Let's see what you got.
Let's do it.
I'm very excited.
Tell me, no, she hasn't.
How many dogs do you have, first of all?
I have one.
And is it a big dog, medium
no,
dog?
it's a medium. Yeah, a little puggle.
Oh,
Pug and
that's
big.
so
You could
cute.
do the model, the brand ambassador model. Do your little
Well, so
smile.
here's the thing. I wanted to ask you before we get into this amazing design. Who is the voice on your commercial?
The male voice.
The
Yeah.
male voice is phenomenal.
I never got to meet him, but
my
he's
gosh,
such a great.
We're going to play your commercial during this episode, but isn't it great?
Have you ever been a brand ambassador?
A brand ambassador?
Yeah. A brand ambassador?
Say that 3 times.
I want to. You.
I have been a
Let me
brand
see the
ambassador.
smile. Let me see the Price is Right smile.
I have been a brand ambassador, and here we have our kibblekatcher right here.
Oh, beautiful.
Here's my Vanna White move.
Nice.
Nobody knows who Vanna White is. Actually, I know her. She's very, very well. Can you push that button, please? Name drop her.
You don't have to tell
Okay.
me. I'm on it.
Okay, so I know it's our whole thing. So this is the kibblekatcher.
So this is a kibblekatcher. So you know the story is like we don't want to be stepping on kibble or wet socks. Stepping in a puddle of water in your socks is the worst.
Because you always think like it'll dry up, and it never does.
It never does.
Like,
Yeah.
now we're like,
I gotta get new socks at that point. Yeah. So as you can see, like it's supposed to kind of represent a little bit of a mid-century furniture style.
It's beautifully handcrafted and very ergonomic, and I love the look of it. So
yeah,
it's
I'm a fan of like that style of furniture. And so just the mixture of woods and metals and plastics and different materials, I think, is kind of unique. And there's a sloped surface that if any kibble were to get out of the bowl or water out of the bowl, it slides into this little slot that's in the front. And then down underneath is a little tray that you can pull and dump the water or the kibble out. It's a pretty simple concept. And then this is a little floating island. So those are the ribs we were talking about with little air pockets.
Gotcha.
So
so it keeps it.
Yeah,
That's the same process of a submarine.
Exactly. Yeah. So it stays buoyant.
Because we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So this was originally flat, and
yeah, and it would air would float to one side or the other. But if you we found that if you put ribs in it, it locks the air into its little cubby.
Wow.
Yeah, because the water comes up, and then they become little pockets of air that they can't go down. So
Right.
They get stuck there.
Exactly. And no matter what you do, you can't sink this thing unless it's upside down, which it won't be. So no matter what you do, you can't go wrong with it.
Right. Yeah.
that
And it'll
makes
stay at the same level and only allow so much water in.
Yeah,
That's great.
right. So when you drop it on the water, it's heavy enough to leave a little bit of a water puddle there, but not so big that
it gets everywhere.
it gets everywhere.
Right.
Fill it up and see how many different designs.
Probably 6 or 7. I've gotten better at this process now. So I went early on. It may have taken me, oh gosh, porch potty took me at least 50 to 80
Really?
prototypes. Oh my God, it was a long process. So yeah, you fill this up, and then you give it some time to equilibrate.
Look at that. It just
And it
gets
just
sucked
kinda
right
flows.
into there like a little.
And it floats. Yeah. And so it'll leave when it's done, kind of either.
Brandon, that's genius.
Being-
It really is. It's a science project, really.
Thanks. You
Take your phone and take a shot of it so we can
Oh,
yeah.
I was like, what are
So
you
you can
doing?
kind of see.
A video?
show. Yeah, take a video so we can show it on there. Can I
Show-
have my water back, please? Sorry, that's my drinking water.
Yeah, no problem. Well, actually, now this is your drinking water.
Yeah,
So
come on.
I hope your tongue's long enough.
Yes, this is just for you.
That's very cool.
It is very cool. It's again, it's one of those designs that goes with everything. It's kind of a
Yeah.
modern mid-century.
Now, after you
look.
sell your 100,000th unit, you partner up with the NFL and you put the team logos on it. Oh my God, you'll sell.
There you
I think
go.
In Chicago alone, with the Bears sign, you'll sell 100,000 in Chicago.
Or the Niners.
For the Niners,
Just saying.
Yeah, they're out.
Okay.
They're out.
Read the room, Corey. and so does the kibblekatcher come in just this color? Or does it have
Right now,
different
we're just
colors?
launched with the light color, and the thing we're doing right now is we're putting it out on Kickstarter.
Okay.
So we're in the middle of a campaign at the moment, and we chose to go with Kickstarter because it has a strong community. I mean, yes, it is a great marketing technique to get the word out about it, but more importantly, we wanted to hear what others thought of the idea and then give us feedback. Also offer any color changes or features that they might like. So this is new for us. I've never done a Kickstarter before. And I'm enjoying it so far to see how tight knit this community is.
How's the
For
response?
everybody that doesn't know what Kickstarter is, and I'm surprised how many people don't know, because when I reached out to all my friends and family that were doing it, and they're like, "What's Kickstarter?"
Yeah, because I got sent the link for our mutual friend, and thank you, mutual friend, we love you. And I went on to try to buy like 5 of them, and I couldn't figure out how to
Right.
do it. But the Kickstarter, then I can go on and donate.
Right, and you get one basically as a
Right.
reward for a certain reward tier. That's
Right.
how they work. Yeah.
Is this something that you'll end up taking to like PetSmart or Petco or
Target, Walmart.
Yep.
Amazon or
Maybe we do really well with just going straight to the customer. I enjoy the direct customer relationship, the emails we get of, "Oh, thank you so much, this has really helped us." And
You probably have a big
it's
email
such a great
database from the
from the porch potty. Yeah. So there's it's a big ball of wax when you open up your products to other retailers, like big box retailers. There's back end systems you got to
Yes.
comply with, the EDI and all of that. So it's a big
I
jump.
would think that this product, and I would actually just commit to it right now, going on and selling this on QVC or HSN. Like literally, it would be because people.
Yeah.
This is something people need. It's yes, it's a want item, but if you have animals or dogs, or even even if people have little tiny ponies and little piggies, and I mean,
cats. I believe we have a veterinarian that was using it with their cat, and she was like, "This is great for cats too."
Introduce him to Heather, the dog walker.
yeah, I mean,
We interviewed a professional, award-winning dog walker, but
Okay.
she's part of an association of dog walkers, 1,000, 2,000 strong.
Wow.
So we'll put you guys in touch with
Wow,
each other.
how do you walk 2,000 dogs?
No,
I'm kidding.
2,000
No.
dog walkers, yeah, but how do you win
Carefully,
an
yeah.
award for dog walking? I didn't know that one either, but no, she's
A
really,
long
really
leash.
nice. But we'll put you guys in touch with each other because there's a whole associations of dog walkers out there.
Yeah.
Professional dog walkers.
Yeah, I know there's apps and everything around it. Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. Some of these apps are just crushing it with all these ideas. So it's been.
so it's on Kickstarter, and you can
on
go
Kickstarter
on
now.
Kickstarter and you can donate, and then you send one out.
Yeah,
to,
and then we send one out to whoever donated. There's different tiers that you can get 2, you can get 1, and
Now,
then
is the Kickstarter just for more development?
Yeah, so the unique thing about Kickstarter is because you're getting funded early on in the process, you have the luxury of being a little bit loose with your design and getting feedback from those that are saying, "Hey, I love it, but can you also do this with it?" Or, "Hey," so there's a real unique person who's doing these Kickstarter backers who loves to be part of the process, and they also love to give back and encourage innovation. And a lot of people just don't have the wherewithal to even start, and Kickstarter is a great way to say, hey, we're cheering you on, here's a little bit to get started. And the sad thing about Kickstarter is a lot of the products don't actually get delivered.
Really?
Yeah, a good 70% of the products that are funded on Kickstarter never get delivered. And
What do? They just keep the money and not deliver the product?
believe it or not, they do, but not because they intentionally did it. Maybe I'm sure there's a percentage of them that do that, but because doing this is not easy. Developing a product and getting it to market, and then developing a product is one thing. Getting it made, getting it prototyped, and getting it to actually work is a whole nother thing. And then to know enough about business in general to go to market with it and open up marketing channels and sales channels. And I mean,
do you have a price point for this particular unit?
Yeah, so this one's $89, and I think on Kickstarter it's $59. So we're given a little bit.
And this is like lifetime. It's so well made and constructed that it's going to last a dog's lifetime.
For sure.
Yeah.
You guys can sell replacement bowls and stuff, right?
Yeah, we got all sorts of
What are bowls
replacement.
made out of?
This is a polypropylene, very smooth. We went with a solid white recently. We tried. This is actually one of our prototypes, believe it or not, with a more.
But it's a one piece, right? It's not a sleeve.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Do you 3D print those or?
Yeah, this is the one that I was talking about earlier, where you 3D print these, and we were trying to get some ideas of what would look nice. Should we come over the top with it? So yeah, lots of fun things to do with it. But yeah, it's a long process, and I've been at it for a while, so I kind of know a little bit about it now, but I'm always learning.
Yes, because last time I saw you and we all had dinner, you had come up with, it was called the Flex
line.
Flex line.
Yeah. So that one, I would say, is the largest undertaking I've taken.
Really?
Yeah. So
gym equipment.
What do that do?
So this piece of equipment is a weight machine that uses compressed air as the weight instead of gravity.
Okay.
And it uses it's a cable machine, so to speak. And gosh, there's probably 300 or more.
A pulley cable
machine?
machine?
Yeah, pulley cable machine. It's kind of this archway you stand under. And the unique thing about it is that the handles I designed with Bluetooth chips and batteries in them, and they're wirelessly connected to the machine. So when I'm doing a workout and I'm, say, going through my reps and I start to fatigue a little bit,
right.
It would be nice if I could lower the weight a little bit. Well, with this you can.
So it's a self spotter.
That's such a great idea.
Yeah. So you can always hit the optimal level of weight for what your muscle is doing at that very second.
That's very cool.
And not only is it optimal for weight training in that way, so that you can get better results, but it just opens up the door to so many new ways of lifting, because you can get under the weight when it's low, add the weight, then when you're in the position, lower the weight when you're getting out of the position. So it's a lot safer to use.
Then we say it's compressed air.
Mm-hmm.
How does that function? It's something that there's more air, it's harder to push down?
Yeah, so it comes with a little compressor.
Okay.
So is it kind of like a bike pump?
No, it's it actually has a motor compressor. So you plug it into the wall,
right.
And it's pretty quiet. It sounds like a refrigerator running. And
but the in the tube, the more air it pushes in, the harder it is
exactly.
to get through that air. Okay.
That's right. So if what happens is, from an engineering perspective, when you hit the plus button or the minus button on the handle, you open a valve, and the valve either lets air rush into the air piston, which you're pushing against, and adds pressure, and then it gets harder. Or if you hit the minus button, it opens a valve and air gets released, and so it gets lighter. So that's
Can you figure out the minimum, maximum pounds? It goes 300 pounds. It goes up to, or
yeah, it goes. If you're using all four cables, it can go up to 350 pounds, and we have a larger air cylinder that goes even higher than that.
So I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
So one of my questions for you, though, Brendan, is you have a company called Blue Cube.
Yeah.
And you are an inventor. And I'm sure people come to you all the time with ideas. How hard is it for you to pick which ones to move forward with? Is it something that you have to bring through to your committee, or
Right.
what is your process of choosing?
Yeah, so I've been doing this for myself as an solo inventor for so long. People started recognizing that, oh, you're the guy that knows how to get things made.
Yes.
So I do get people coming to me all the time, just even word of mouth. I don't really advertise for it much at all, actually. That, hey, I have this idea. Can you make this for me? And that so.
What's the craziest idea, if you can talk about it, that someone has brought to you? If you're able to even say it, because a lot of people don't want you to.
There's one that's actually pretty crazy right now that we're in the process of, so I'm not able to talk about that one.
Don't you love it though when people come pitch ideas and you're just like,
Yeah.
why didn't I think of that?
What's the unicorn? Oh, I'd really love to do that, but I can't figure out how to get it done.
So last week, I can talk about this because I didn't. We just decided not to, move
Wait, is
forward
it
with
somebody's idea though?
It's okay. Ideas are free as birds.
Well, this
You can't
this
spoil
one's I can talk about the idea without it giving away any like proprietary. Just having the ability to go to the bathroom while on a car ride.
Yes,
And-
I'm loving this already.
And so I did
It's called an external catheter, but go ahead.
No, I actually
But-
bought something called a Little John.
is it a female? I'm sure.
It has a female apparatus. I'm just gonna say I'm very transparent. It's red. It's like a little canister. But I got stuck in that traffic with that crane. That poor guy that passed away. And I was there for like 5 hours, and guys were getting out and being on the side of the road, and all the women were like
Right.
crossing their legs. And so it was like this little canister, and it has this thing. So yes,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
totally tracking you
So
right now.
that, I guess, is a really good point. Like, what you think might be a good idea turns out to not sometimes be a great idea. I've had some of those that just didn't work well. And then you have these that are like, wait, what? That thing sold, 80,000 units in the
Yes.
first month. You're going, and believe it or not, I've done a little research on this topic that you've are bringing up, and that you can find them on Amazon.
Yes,
and
I did.
I'm like, wait a minute, there's 23,000 reviews on this thing? That means
Yes.
it must be selling like crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And who knew? Like, I would have never, like, if somebody came to me with that idea, I'd be like, I don't know if that's really something that's women struggle with. And then
It
obviously
is
I'm not.
because it's like easier for a man to just kind of get out and go to the bathroom, but then when you're a woman sitting in a car, do you want to go out on the
Yeah.
side of the road? But it does. It's
Well, there
kind
is some that allows you to kind of go on the side of the road as if you were a man. Yeah, there's like this little cup with a little tube that comes out the bottom of it, and you basically stand there as a woman and go in the bushes and just be
So
like,
women can write their name in the snow.
yeah, exactly. That's what it's for. It's called the Snow Rider.
My first wife was the snow rider. Really? Yeah. My first wife was addicted to QVC, so we had moved back east, and I'd come home, and she's there, and I'm watching QVC, and there's this lady on it going, I was in my basement, so I found this my basement. I found this scrap metal, and I just turned it in as cookie cutter, and I have cookie cutters, and you're like 10,000, 11,000.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're home all day. You
I know.
can't invent something like go downstairs, find something, go sell for $20.
So true.
And it was literally, I think they sold like 35,000 that episode alone.
Yeah.
I pitched my ex-husband a show. He and I would go back and forth on this because he knows I'm right. And it was the greatest idea. I was like, there should be a show on dating, and somebody should. It's blind date, and someone should, carry a camera around and just go on a blind date. And 4 months later, the show gets picked up by I forget which network and ran for like 15 years with Roger Lodge. Called Blind Date.
Blind Date.
Yes. So the point is, like, when you
never
have
know.
an idea, just go with it
Right.
and believe in yourself.
Right.
And, people will come along and say, oh, it's never going to work. That's not,
All the time.
all the time.
I get that all the time.
And I just say, oh, thank you so much, and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Just keep moving forward.
And I'm glad that I have a little bit of a thick skin when it comes to this stuff, and I've been at it now that I can say, well, it's my choice. So even my first product that went really commercial was porch potty, and I had a lot of people say, why would anybody want that? Even my family was saying that, and I was like, ouch.
Tell us what porch potty is.
So porch potty is a grass litter box for dogs. and it's got a little pop-up sprinkler system and a drainage system. And
Actual grass?
Yeah. It has both, actually. It has synthetic and real, and we ship the real grass on a monthly basis if you desire that, or you can use the synthetic grass and use it that way. But, we it's kind of a outdoor wicker style, so it's kind of very, I'd like to say, high-end looking. It's not just a tray.
Where I have a condo in another city, and it's in a high-rise. So I'm tired of going down 21 floors to walk the dog.
Yeah.
So I bought one of those things. She won't use it. She goes and sits on it.
Oh, really?
Because she's so used to going downstairs to a special yard where she goes with her friends. But yeah, they're great. Once a month they send you the real grass. And
Yeah. And actually, not to knock the synthetic grass, I was really surprised at how many customers that replied, I can't believe it. I put the synthetic grass down, and they went within minutes.
Yes, they do.
And I was like, okay, well, here I am thinking, the synthetic grass is really just for the humans to think it's grass, but the dogs wouldn't fall for it.
Once the dog uses it once, then it's just, okay, this is where I go.
Yeah. I mean, it's designing pet products is interesting because you never really get to talk to the dog about what they want.
You have to see the feedback. You can't.
Right. You have to just observe. And, this is funny because I had the idea that if dogs smell so well, and one of the training mechanisms that we talk about is to scent the fire hydrant. So we have this fire hydrant that comes with it. It's a cute little plastic fire hydrant. And we thought, how can we scent this thing so that it would be where dogs would know where to go? So
you have a factory production line, and as it goes from the thing, the dogs just pee on it.
So that's what we did. No, I'm kidding.
Pee pads have a scent in it to know where to go.
Right.
It's a pad. So.
And so what scent do you use? I don't know. Let's do some research. So it turns out, I'm not a hunter, but it turns out hunters have deer urine, coon urine, bear urine. I mean, they have a whole store of urine.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
So I decide to go ahead and test this idea, and I ordered a couple different samples of different coon urine and deer urine. Oh my God, this stuff is awful. This stuff.
Did it repel the dogs?
Yeah. It was really awful. Just the scent of it was.
I love this process though.
Yeah.
I love the process of just I'm going to order that because it's not something you normally do.
Right.
And then it's just amazing to me.
Reach a laboratory, a white coat. And
it literally excites me to create something.
It is fun.
It's so fun.
It is fun.
And then having this product that's, a final product that, like you said, is beneficial for people.
And to see them light up when you have something that you've made from scratch and then have them use it is just such a great thrill.
What are the other two things?
All right, so these guys are called the Tutor Cam.
What cam?
The Tutor Cam.
Tutor cam? Like a tutor,
Yeah. So this came out of the pandemic.
Okay.
This was a pandemic product.
I love it.
So what?
So exciting.
I'll just grab my phone here to demonstrate.
Tutor Cam. Oh my gosh.
Go ahead.
Amazing.
So this is so what happened, and we all know what happened. It was the pandemic hit, and my kids were left high and dry. They went for 2 weeks without any coursework, right? And then they're like, okay, let's try this, remote learning thing. And every teacher was like, what?
Yeah.
What is that? And so, I tried to kind of help my kids, start learning, and we started doing Zoom.
Which, by the way, all of a sudden the parents became the teachers.
Right, exactly. Well, primarily because the teachers didn't really know how to use the tool very well.
Yeah.
And they, they don't know that, okay, I used to use a whiteboard, now what do? Do I point the camera to the whiteboard, which is in the distance and hard to read, or do I point it down and start to use? Anyways, this became a real problem. And I thought to myself, what would happen if I joined the Zoom call from two devices, a phone and the laptop?
Okay.
And it worked. I could take my phone and mount it to a an arm that would shoot down to the
Almost like we used to call it the E-machines. Forget what they call them, but the old style overhead projectors.
Yeah,
now
exactly.
Cameras.
Right.
They're called E something. I forget what they're called.
Yeah, and so, essentially what I did here was I made this little prism on the back that snaps off and on, and it's this glass. It's almost like a mirror, but it's actually a solid prism, and it goes on here. And when you put your, I'm going to step away from the mic for a second, but if you put your video on it. Okay, there you go.
Oh.
So
now it films
That's
what's
so
on.
great.
Yeah. So now what you have is you're able to have the teacher and the student see their face and their paper at the same time.
That's so cool.
So you're able to do math homework with them, see if they're, you forgot to carry the one.
Yeah, because they weren't being
So whatever
able
you
to do that.
Yeah.
You put this underneath.
It's
so whatever you put
literally-
underneath, it literally just shows it.
It's a virtual way of them walking by their desk and saying, hey.
Yes.
It's so
and
right.
One's for phone, one's for iPad.
Yeah, so we made more of like a heavy duty one that is strong enough to, use a large device, and this one's kind of like a foldable.
The schools are loving that.
Yeah, so our schools said we want to, give us as many as you can.
10,000.
Yeah, not 10,000, but enough to
So
cover.
each kid has one of these, or each teacher would have one of these.
Yes.
Okay.
And students, because the student could use it on their end.
Right.
And so the reason why we called it Tutor Cam was because it made a lot of sense for tutors, right? Because at that time, if your kid had a tutor, they weren't seeing your tutor, so they were doing it remotely.
Yeah.
And this was a way to, if you're teaching geometry, let's say to a student, you're gonna want to see what angle they made their obtuse triangle or something, and you can't do that unless they were to write it and then show it to the screen, and then write it again and then show it to the screen. And so this was a problem. We've now gotten better with the tools that we have, and the teachers are now getting better with what they have. So, and of course the pandemic is coming to, well, maybe not the pandemic, but
just please say it.
coming to an end.
It's coming to an end.
Let's just make that right now
Stamped
here.
and approved on the Coriolis effect.
Yeah. So, well, at least the kids are back in school.
Yes.
So when they weren't in school for that whole year, there was these were being used a lot. So.
Oh, it's such a great idea, isn't it?
Now, how did you manufacture them? You form the parts and.
Yeah. So we work with a lot of factories that do different, I would call them materials or trades. So we have one or two people that are really good with metals. So I have one guy who's just awesome with plastic, and they make the tooling and stuff. And we build a relationship. The guy that I've been using for plastics, I've been using for 13 years. I know him very well, and he's always spot on. And so you develop these relationships over time with all these different factories, and then it allows us to move quick, right? So you don't have to go develop those relationships over and over again. And so that's kind of one thing that we do unique is we developed the idea, and then we call it the hub and spoke model, where you find all the different suppliers of the materials, and then you bring it into one house to assemble it.
So looking at this, it's got probably about 5 or 6 different parts.
Exactly.
Do you get the parts and then assemble it together in your lab, in your factory?
Yeah, we would assemble it. We typically assemble near the factory. So we have overseas right now. We're actually really trying hard to try to find ways to bring it back to the U.S.
I was going to say, is a lot of this stuff getting stuck on the boats?
It's really a struggle right now with all the boats. And the supply chain, I mean, it's real.
It is real.
Yeah.
Struggle is real. Hey,
So-
we got to invent something for that.
Yeah, right.
Invent a boat that can unload its cargo without anybody helping it.
Right?
So most of our stuff is made in China, and we have really good relationships with those factories. But we'll see what happens with the geopolitical uncertainty. That certainly is scary for me, because this is my supply chain.
Right.
Yes.
And if we someday don't have that, that's going to be a big shakeup. So we are looking for backup suppliers in the U.S. and Mexico right now.
Now looking at the one on the right, is that cable plugged into it, or is it part of the machine?
Oh yeah, so this was a light shows up in here.
A light.
Yeah, which is actually gone, isn't? Now that I feel it. So it's an LED light that gives light to the surface, and we, we found that if you put a light any particular location, the shadow of your hand was a problem because you would, and so we found that by putting it on the spine here, there was always no shadow.
No shadow. Huh.
Yeah, so we put it on the
What
spine.
would that retail for?
This is also 89.
Is it just one, or do they come together?
No, one
They're
each.
separate.
So
Two,
yeah,
small
two
one,
different.
big
Yeah,
one.
big and small.
So
Yeah,
89 for the big one. And the
yeah, 69 for this one.
That's
Mhm.
very cool. I like it because I'm always looking for things to put stands, my iPads and my iPhones on the desk
Yeah,
because I'm tired of them. But I think it's great.
yeah.
That's
Thanks.
so great.
Well, give me $69.
It allows the teacher to be more involved too. I mean, that would be frustrating as a teacher not to be able to see your kids, assignments and your works, and
Right.
So it's a great idea.
And surprisingly, a lot of people started using them for doing cooking tutorials
Yeah.
and craft material. During the pandemic, my daughter did those little iron-on
Yes.
circles that you put an iron on it, and she was doing this craft with all of her friends in a Zoom meeting, and they were doing it together.
That's cute.
And telling each other, "Oh, you should use pink in that spot," because that would look great. And they were just using the TutorCam as their craft
Yeah.
tool.
You can buy those on your site now, or
Yeah, tutorcam.com
TutorCam?
or tutorcampro.com. Sorry.
Are all of these inventions though on bluecube.com?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So,
So
they're
we-
all on. That's your main.
Yeah,
site,
you can
Bluecube.
you can find them all
What I
there.
love about you, Brandon, is that you have so much, many diverse products. A lot of inventors will stick in the same genre. I'm going to take these down.
Yeah.
I think you wanted me to take this off the table, but and
Oh, it's heavy.
Yeah, it's got a good solid base to it.
you have like a lot of different products.
You walked in with two of these. You may be walking out with one.
You're my gift to you.
I got to tell you, when I was in high school, I came up with this idea called button covers.
Ooh,
Literally.
that's cool.
And like 2 years later, somebody made button covers. And then
Cover your buttons on your shirt.
there were button covers where you literally just like pop it on. It's sort of like passe now, but you just could change the look of your buttons.
Oh yeah.
And then one of my friends came to me and he said he had a musical card. He literally opened up the card and had all the little mechanics in it. And it was, excuse me,
That plays music.
Yes.
They've been around for a while.
he thought of it.
Oh,
It was
no.
his card.
Really?
He made the whole thing because you're never going to believe this card. You're just never going to believe this. And he opens it up and it like, but what it was is that you could press it and record your own voice and say,
Right,
hey, I
right.
just wanted to say, happy birthday or whatever. And then, like years later, it's,
yes, I remember
it gets-
those.
Okay, so,
And so these things excite me because I've seen people make the most amazing inventions and out of just an idea, and what happens to us oftentimes, I keep going back to this because I want to encourage and motivate those out there that have those ideas, is that you get that little voice in your head that saying, oh no, I'll never be able to do it, or it'll never happen because I can't, or it's just like I won't, or how am I going to make this? But
Right.
when Sammy was little, she played soccer, and the other girl's mother was named Tracy Gold, a great lady. She passed away from cancer. But when she was little, her father was a huge mass marketer of everything. And one day she was like 5 or 6 or 7. He was picking her up from school, and she was playing with this rock. She was, that's my pet rock. He put the pet rock together. In a year and a half, they sold like 10 million of them.
Yeah.
And it
Oh,
only
wow.
went for about a year and a half fad.
That's
And
funny.
they made a fortune. But she just, he said, okay. And he went and made a fortune.
Well, that's a great
Yeah.
example of just good marketing, right?
Yeah, right.
I actually never learned the history of the pet rock, but
Yeah, it
it's
was
always
Tracy
such an
was
it's
yeah,
such an
it was my
iconic
pet rock, yeah.
it's such an iconic product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sold.
It's very cost effective, and you don't have to
Yeah,
see
yeah,
it.
yeah.
There'll be no drip or no kibble involved. It's just
It was
sits
the
there.
fad.
Yeah,
It was
oh no,
fad,
I
yeah.
know. Just like
You
the
got-
easy
you know about
button.
The tulip fad, right? The 14th century, 15th century.
Right, where everybody thought tulips were gonna be
You ever know about that?
out
No.
of stock.
So it's like, I want to say 1430, 1431. Somebody said tulips were worth a fortune. And everybody bought, people sunk their whole fortunes into tulip futures and everything else. A year and a half later, they're just tulips. And the market crashed in like 2 days.
Isn't
This
it
was in Italy, I think,
unbelievable?
Yeah.
in France. And it was a fad, and it died out.
It's the
People
power of
made and lost a
suggestion.
fortune in a year. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's always used as an example of a bubble, right?
Bubble,
yeah,
yes, yeah,
so
yeah.
the bubble pops eventually, and yeah.
So
No.
for anyone out there listening and that may have an idea of their own, is this something that you would entertain, or are you kind of just working on the things that you have now?
Yeah, we are always open to hearing how to help people, especially because I have a soft spot in my heart for inventors, and I'm always open to help them, get to the next level if they want to do something similar to what
collaborate together,
right? Yeah, or even just like how do I get a metal part made? And I might, I have people around here that I know now that
Can you make a device that makes a podcast host listen to her producer?
Oh my gosh. That's
a
all
little
I
animatronic
do.
thing.
Yeah, well, I have a little button that I push a button and she has to do what I tell her. Yeah, little electrical collar thing maybe.
That's
I'm
funny.
already feeling that. I already have that button.
But no, we do have to be somewhat picky with who with which products.
Selective,
yeah,
I
we
would
have to
say,
be
right?
right, selective, because we can't do everything.
Everyone.
There's just so many ideas out there, and we do struggle a little bit with, if somebody does come to us with an idea, and we sign NDAs, we're always very discreet about everybody. I will never ever take somebody's idea, just because it's such a principle of mine.
I
What do
vouch
you do
for
if somebody
Brandon.
sends you an idea that you already had?
Oh, well, thankfully that's never happened, but I do predict one day it might.
Right.
And the solution I've come up with, which may not be perfect, is if somebody says to me, "Hey, I have an idea," I say, "Wait, pause, 1 second. I just want you to, first of all, before you tell me the intellectual property you're about to, can you just tell me what industry it's in, or what maybe category it is, and maybe what it is without telling me what the secret ingredient is, right? So that I can just
We
say,
call it a conflict check.
yeah, just do a conflict. Exactly, a conflict check, which is actually the term I finally landed on, which is right. It's like
attorneys do it all
it's
the
like
time.
attorney,
Before you go in
exactly.
and say, who's the plaintiff, who's the defendant, I may have represented them. What's the
Exactly.
conflict check?
Right. So I do a quick conflict check, and even if it's just a 30-second verbal conflict check, because I'd be like, look, if it has anything to do with pet products, I might
have already done it already.
might not want to hear it.
Yeah.
The record companies you did, when you would send in a tape, they would keep it sealed and send it right back to you. We don't take unsolicited things. 'Cause all of a sudden it'd be like, oh, I wrote, Let It Be, and all of a sudden now it's on the Beatles album. How come I don't get that money?
Right.
Sometimes companies too. I brought ideas to companies, and they'll say, like, if we have something in the same genre, we'll provide you with all of our documentation.
show that
That's
we
6
came
months
up with it,
prior. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's ways around it.
Right,
It's always
right.
good to cover yourself. But
Right. So we do. So I'm happy to sign NDAs. No problem there. So yeah, it's an
Who
interesting
came up
world.
with the name Blue Cube? The papers.
So one of my first jobs out of engineering school was a startup up in Silicon Valley during the dot-com era, and it was a Palm Pilot snap-in device that played music, and it was prior to an iPod.
Yeah. The iPod, yeah.
Yeah, it was the iPod before the iPod, and I got to design that for another company, and it was a great little device. It was the first time you could actually select what song you want to listen to from. Back then, it was a stylus.
My friend Steve Jobs, and all of a sudden,
Yeah, right.
Where's the button? Can you push the name drop, please?
I will use this. I will use the word
He was
Steve
very
Jobs one more time.
interested. This guy named Steve, he just said, "Yeah, tell me all about it," and I never saw him again.
Yeah.
So it was a great experience. It got me to understand what a startup was like, because I had never, and it made me love it. I love small companies that get to grow fast and you get to wear all the hats.
Right.
Some people hate it. I get that. It's a lot of chaos. If you can't live in chaos, then maybe not for you. But startups are always chaotic, and I loved it. And it made me want to start a company. And what happened was this device, it was actually called the handspring visor, if anybody out there is a fanboy.
N-pad.
Oh yeah, right. And so they decided to remove the slot from the back of the handspring visor, and that got rid of basically the opportunity. So the company went out of business, and so I was having to decide what to do. So I started Blue Cube in 2001.
Wow.
And
I'm the name Blue Cube.
yeah, so I decided there was an idea I had that I've never really shared with anybody. It was, what if we had like a device, like say an audio player in your house for home audio that would have a large hard drive. At the time, back in the day, storage space was hard to come by. So hard drives were the only thing to
Right.
10, 20, 40,
Yeah,
80
right,
megabytes.
right.
Who would need 80 megabytes? What do
Remember
you
that
store
day?
on that thing?
Yeah, so hard drives are really the only way to get good amount of storage. So I thought, why don't we have like this VCR style a home audio
Yeah.
device that you could have a hard drive in it, and it would connect to your TV, and you would basically play audio, all the songs you wanted to from the house. Now, this is so this is so outdated now because of what we have, the technology.
Alexa and all that.
Yeah, all that is it's so much better these days. But it was a novel idea at the time.
Yeah.
And I thought one idea I had was, why not have like a little keychain that you can kind of keep on your keys with a little cube on it? And I thought it would be cool to be like a little blue cube that you had a button that if you were in the car and listening to the radio and you loved a song and you wanted it to be on your home audio collection, you would just reach under for your keys and push the button on the keychain, and I figured out that if you timestamp that moment and knew which radio station it was on, there was actually records of every song ever played on every radio station.
That's like Shazam.
Yeah, it's like Shazam, except Shazam uses a very high
Right.
technology of.
Wait, there's a list of
yes.
every song?
Yes.
Yes.
And people can get to that?
Yes, it started because they needed to keep track of the licensing
Yes.
fees.
Yes.
The ASCAP and VMI, yeah, exactly. So all of this was there in this database, and you could pay a little bit for access to this. And so I was like, hey, this could be cool, like a little device that you could it's always there because your keys are hanging in your, now we have these button keys
Right.
like fobs that start the car, but it was always there. You could push the button and it would remember the timestamp, and when you got home, it would sync up and know what song you were listening to. So, anyways, this little blue cube of a keychain was kind of our logo in a way, and I thought, Blue Cube, and not just spell it with a C but with a K, because my initials were Brandon Kennington BK, so I used BK as
you
Blue
want to stay away
Cube.
from BK, but go ahead.
Yeah,
I
right.
love it.
And then I got more financially savvy and realized the word BK is for bankrupt. Yeah, that's not good. So
Brandon,
always.
you're such
No, it's the other
an
BK,
inspiration.
Which is what?
BK, I don't know.
Oh yeah. So
It's a great name.
Thanks.
And you have great products, and I'm excited to see more of your inventions.
Well, you say you're an inventor. Yeah.
I'm always creating stuff, and
Yeah.
I created a lip balm. I
Yeah, I love
created
the
a
lip balm.
company with my ex-husband called Tomboy Designs, and that was sports lingerie. Cute stuff, not stuff that was.
Did you say sports lingerie?
sports lingerie? I did, and I have. Well, the story behind it was kind
First
of
of
a
all,
fun
women
story.
wore it, but it's for men. Yeah.
Well, no, it was like cute stuff that you could, not lingerie, like, you could wear some of it to the game. Like, in fact, we produced it
Wow.
and sold out in the East Bay magazine. And 99.9% of our buyers were boyfriends and husbands.
Yeah.
Ah.
Literally, it was a phenomenon. And then I ended up getting divorced, and it just didn't pan out. And then Alyssa Milano did something similar. But it's a huge market, especially for like college football, and so I'm always coming up with ideas like that. And so for me to have you here today is such a blessing, because I love to hear how the mind works, and I also love that you just go for it, and
Thank you.
Everyone should. I mean, it's really, you can be driving or in the shower or doing whatever, and you come up with an idea, and I would always tell people, put it on paper.
Yes.
Just put it down on paper first, the idea, put it
Right.
down.
It all starts with a sketch.
Yes, it all starts with a sketch, and then take the next step. Just do one step a day.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you have this kibblekatcher sitting here.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, it's true. The process is interesting. I've started to see the patterns over so many products now. There's definitely this like diverging and then converging and then diverging and then converging of the idea. So there's like the first stage is really a discovery phase where you're just gathering ideas, getting other what other products are out there. You just, whatever works is, whatever comes to mind is good. You write those down. That's typically called brainstorming, right? And then there's this like, okay, let's pick a few that work, that seem like, so you're converging, so you're bringing it back down. And then there's going to be another diverge session where you're kind of like, okay, now that we know these, but which other technologies could we use that maybe from other, sharing or bringing in technologies from other industries is my favorite way to come up with products, is
like a think tank, and just like,
right. Or just like you open your kitchen drawer and you pull out a widget and you're like, that little pivot that they use could be perfect for this like camping chair I'm working on. I do that all the time, where I'm like looking at, I find myself, and I'm kind of embarrassed when I am doing this, I find myself walking through like Home Depot or any store really, just of lots of different parts, and you're just like pointing to different things.
It's the best store ever, I know.
And you're just like sitting there like, oh, that's interesting. I'm not a plumber, but that's a fascinating mechanism that they use. I could maybe use that idea for, and that's just exactly what I did for Porch Potty. I walked up and down those aisles looking for different ideas. I found the sprinklers are obviously from the plumbing department. I found the socket that it goes into from the drainage, also plumbing. My first prototype was using a washing machine drain pan. I bought every washing machine drain pan from Home Depot they could make, because I was selling these so early on, and they were like, "How many washing machines do you have?"
So many. Oh, so many.
And that was really fun. And then I found that the drainage system really worked better if it was this coiled tube that comes from the electrical conduit. It's electrical conduit. So from every different walk of life, you're trying to find like ways to make it all come together. And I love that process. I get into the zone. It's my drug. It's my drug of choice, really.
Totally addicting. And if you've ever seen the movie, I think it's Dirty Dancing, when they're talking about inventions, and they're like, I wonder who invented the little plastic thing that goes on the end of a shoelace.
Aglet. It's an aglet.
Right.
Aglet.
And it's like, somebody had to invent it.
I know, right?
Harold Aglet.
It excites me. And that's where, like, if you have an idea and you create the momentum, and keeping the momentum going until you see it to fruition is amazing. But thank you for your coming today. And I do have a few questions for you, Brandon. Last questions. It's so good to see you, by the by.
Thank you.
And that you're doing well.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite shows, because I love inventing, and I love meeting inventors and hearing how they think and what excites them and motivates them.
Yeah, we need to support each other as inventors.
Yes.
And we all are, really.
We all are.
We all are. Everybody's got ideas. Yeah.
And that's why I want to encourage people out there that just take the next step. I can't say it enough. I just can't, because a lot of mine have flopped.
And that's okay.
But I have the book or the paper to show that, and that's okay. Like you said, it doesn't matter. Not every single one has to stick. So,
hang on, before you get to that, when will this thing be largely available to the public?
Oh, yes.
So if you can get it now on Kickstarter, and it'll be delivered to you, if you can get the first 1,000 units, it'll be delivered to you at the end of this month.
Okay.
But we have not started the second batch yet, because we're waiting to see what people want. So that takes a good 3 to 4, even 5 months to get, especially with the supply chain problems we're having right now. So we're saying September. If you want one after the Kickstarter campaign, it'll have to be
widely available in September.
Yeah, August, September. Okay.
But you can go on right now, Kickstarter, and donate, and you'll get sent one to your house.
You can get one for $59. Is that what you said?
Yeah. And save money. Save money.
Too, right?
No, this is we've only stuck with one design, so this is the one size we have. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, Brandon. 3 words that describe you.
I consider myself compassionate.
I do too.
Innovative would have to be there, right? And optimist. I'm certainly an optimist.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah, you can't go.
You have to be.
You can't exactly. You can't go through this without being a full optimist. On
you can never.
No matter what.
It will never work.
Yeah.
No, you can never say never. That has to be stricken from the record.
You said it twice in the same sentence.
Well, and look, let's not be completely naive. There's times where it's just not in the cards right now. Like maybe you have to dedicate too much money to get to the next step, or too much time to get to the next step, and you just are, you're still working a full-time job, you're still trying to make ends meet, and maybe it's not right now, but maybe you just got to keep it on your mind, because it'll resurface. You put it out there, and you're looking for an answer in the future.
And our words are very powerful.
Yeah.
Speak it as though it is so, right, Bob?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we do a little word association game. I know it's not a test. So I'm going to say a word.
It is a test. It's not a game. It's a test.
All right. It's a test. I'm going to say a word, and you're just going to give
Even your
me
psyche. You have the word associations, right?
Sure.
Okay. You're
quick, fast response. Pets.
Dog. I love my dog.
Me too.
I'm a big dog
Me too.
dog person.
I know, right? Dog spelled backwards is God.
Oh,
And it's the
love that.
most.
in English.
holy moly.
I know.
That was just gave me chills.
It did. And you know why? Because it's the only animal that is unconditional, that is loving and kind and compassionate and has grace for you no matter what. And
Totally
it's
true.
spelled backwards as God.
Yeah, except in Russian, the dog is Shabachka, which is spelled backwards.
Okay, you know what?
Bob's the way. The guy that always ruins the moment.
He is. Yes, he figured you out in 1 hour.
Dog in Spanish. I figured that one out.
Wah, wah,
I know Gato,
wah.
we gotta know what the dog
No,
is.
but like I tell that to people, and they literally have that reaction, because it's like you don't really think about it.
It's so true. It does feel like there was a purpose for
Yes,
dogs,
yes.
for us.
They're healing.
They're so healing.
my
They're so.
gosh.
I lost my dog, my first dog of 12 years, about 2 years ago, and it crushed me. Like
know.
I was just in tears all the time.
It's gonna make me cry. It's very hard, and that's one of my questions when we do go to heaven is, why do we only get them for such a short little time?
Yeah.
But they're all little blessings, and I really do believe they come back in another dog, because the dog I have now is literally like my other dog, Snickers.
You should get a turtle been there for 100 years.
Okay, so moving on.
Well, I just want to give a little bit of
Yes.
So when she died, it not only meant so much to me because who she was as part of the family, but she was the reason why I started the porch potty. She was the reason we lived in West Hollywood without a backyard. We had a balcony, and we had a lobby you had to walk through to go let the dog out, and down the stairs and out the elevator and all this. And so I'm like, gosh, we need to have like something I can put out on the balcony so I don't have to wake up 3 times a night and let them out.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So, and I just feel so much. So I feel blessed from that, and you're right about this, like this connection, and the God connection is amazing. That just. It's so unique. There's no other animal that does that. That is so loyal, so like just unwavering.
They exhibit all the God qualities.
Yes.
I know. It blows my mind.
In fact, as we look at ourselves and want to be better people, you can't get a better example than a dog.
Yeah.
First of all, they say your dog is much better than your spouse. And everybody says, no, I can't. Lock them both in the garage for an hour. See who's happy to see you.
Right. It's so true.
I'm kind of like a dog, because I would be just
You'd be happy
super
to see me?
excited.
You're like, thank God we're not going to die in here.
I mean, but like I am not. It's funny because Ariana, she'll be like, if she comes in and I'm like, hi Nana, she'll be like, Mommy. Because I'm always like a dog. I'm always like, hi, honey, and I give her smooches and hugs,
Yeah.
and I'm
Like a
Italian.
whole
so-
face, and yeah.
Yes, but it's like, if everyone just did that all the time with their loved ones, there'd be
love everywhere.
everywhere.
I mean,
Right,
Yeah.
let's lock Cory in the garage for an hour and see what happens.
Not in that gym. I'm not doing that. Okay, so the next word is necessity.
love.
Invention.
Hard.
Engineering.
Mechanisms. I love good. I'm a sucker for good mechanisms. I have books on different mechanisms.
Gear?
Yeah, I love gears and different ways that like.
Sprogs and sockets.
Yeah, I just kind of have a hobby of kind of collecting different types of little levers and stuff.
Family.
the one, like just so, yeah. One
Solid.
unity, I guess, is what I was going for. One unity. Yep.
Marketing. Is that what that says?
Marketing, diverse. In this day and age, there's just so much to know
Isn't
about
there
marketing.
though? It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having all this at our disposal? Like,
I know. It's just so
It's
much to
great.
know.
It's-
And it's constantly changing. There's so much to know. There's nobody can ever be a great expert at it.
Last one is prototype.
Prototype.
Yeah. And then, do we still ask
Yes,
that
we do.
question? I'm not even going to ask Brandon that. Brandon is happily married and an amazing. We usually ask what a
Pushing into the mic.
celebrity, who your celebrity crush is. But
No,
I'm
we
gonna ask
changed
who
it.
your. Oh, we did.
Yeah, remember for the last 50 episodes, you've been saying who inspires you or who.
This is exactly right. So,
Thank
Brandon,
you.
who
Pay attention.
inspires you other than Bob?
First of all, you can answer either one. Either your celebrity crush. which is
no,
probably-
let's do who
or
inspires
who
you.
inspires
Who
you.
inspires you currently?
I mean,
most?
I'm glad I got a second one because the celebrity crushes don't go. I'm not.
Yeah.
Nothing but getting in trouble. 'Cause it's
well,
never
I
gonna
mean,
happen, yeah.
There's nobody. It's not even like a thing anymore. It's like, So who would you say currently is a real big inspiration for you?
how could you not be inspired by this guy named Elon Musk?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, holy moly, the guy
Yeah.
is like.
By the way, that's my wife's celebrity crush.
Really? Yeah. And I mean, recently Jordan Peterson has been really inspirational
Yes,
to me.
really love him.
I love his.
Yes.
I love his
He just
thought-provoking.
did a 4-hour on Joe Rogan last week.
Last
to it.
week.
Yeah, it's a good one.
because he's been on a few times.
Yeah,
so,
wow,
Joe.
this was a good 4 hours. You really get into him.
Yeah, I mean, actually, just recently, I always loved his thought-provoking ideas and what he talked about in his book, but more recently, just some of the deepest things about humanity and our meaning in life. I was like, whoa, he's going.
He's sharp. And when he
going
speaks,
in.
he speaks very sharply. You understand
Yes.
him.
He's very articulate, and he's just wonderful. You can just feel his heart when he speaks.
Yeah.
You feel his heart.
Yeah, and it's almost like how could you take issue with anything he says because
Yeah.
it's so logical, so straightforward.
He puts people he's on a 30-city tour
Yes.
over the next couple of months. Yeah.
He's such a.
Oh, I'm going to the one in Long Beach. Yeah, later in March.
There's a scripture and it says, "I've prepared you for a time as this," and it just reminds me of him because he's certainly sharing what God has given him in so many ways and pulling people together. And that was our whole purpose of this show, was to bring people united and not be so divided in this world today. Because it's, as we know.
I love his take on God and his journey he went through in his life. It's very inspiring to, I think, hear other people go through struggles of what it means for you spiritually. And I think we've all gone through that.
The book, 12 Rules, right?
Yes.
My favorite one, as I talked about, is don't raise your kids to where you hate them.
Right.
Yeah, so don't ever have your kid do something which would make you hate them. And you're like, yeah, you're right. Knock it off. So.
Yeah, you don't want your kids hating you. That's a
No,
good
you don't
one.
want to hate your kids. So you don't want your kids to do anything
you
which
ever
would
hate a
make
kid?
you hate them.
Right.
I'm saying if they weren't your kid, would you hate them if they did that? Yeah, don't let your kids do anything which would make you hate them if they
This
were
is what I love when Bob gets real excited and he starts going like this and like his hands are.
The hands going.
She's making it up. I sit here quietly and stoically.
I know you do. Well, Brandon, we're so grateful for you, and we're
thanks.
so thankful that you came today, and look forward to your next invention. And I'm going to go on and get myself I'll probably get my grandpuppy. I'm obsessed with my grandpuppy, Bailey. That's
Bailey,
the golden retriever.
I want to see more pictures of this cute
She's
puppy.
just amazing. My daughter, got her in her second year in college. She's now graduated. But I will say this: when your child gets an animal, and you get to see how they raise this animal from a puppy, and you get to see what kind of a parent they get to be.
Aw.
I'm so proud of her, and I'm just so grateful to see that, all the little things that she's done and the love she puts into this dog and the training and the commitment, right?
Yeah.
It's a commitment when you get a puppy. And so I've been blessed to watch that. So I'm definitely going to get Bailey one of these. So
Yeah.
thank you, Brandon.
And it's nice to see, yourself, all the things you help
Yeah.
teach her, as a parent.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's like, and they just become this little parent. So it's fun and exciting, and you have a ways to go, but I will leave you with this. I tell people this all the time.
And we're out.
No. Children spell love Time.
Amazing.
That's it.
I love that.
Right? That's how they spell it. Time. So
Yes.
enjoy the time you have before they go off to college. And thank you for coming today. We are here for you. So any other future products that you have, please bring them by. And
Yeah.
and thank you.
I'm so happy to have been invited, and I'm here to help. If anybody out there wants to chat about what the pros and cons of patenting things are, or how to get started, I'm like I said,
email you at
they can email me at bkennington. That's BKENNINGTON at bluecube.com. Bluecube.com. Yeah. So.
and we're out for good. This time I mean it.
The Coriolis Effect is produced by JS Productions. Producers Cory Oliver and Bob Victor. Host Cory Oliver. And editors Bob Victor and Cade Bonsall.
Hi guys, I'm Cory Oliver, and thank you for watching The Coriolis Effect. We hope you enjoyed the previous episode. Here are some more episodes you might enjoy. Hit the subscribe button below, and have a great day.